The Colosseum today sits as a pinnacle of Roman engineering and architecture. Over nearly 2,000 years, visitors have come from around the world to marvel at the legacy of the genius in a bygone era. While still standing, the amphitheater is no longer at the peak it once was. Made of cracked stone, empty tunnels, and but a shadow of what was. Weathered and eroded by time, the arena lays empty. But beneath the decay lays the heart of an empire, a theater for warriors, actors, and emperors. Rome, 68 AD, 4 years before the construction of the Colosseum would begin. In its place stood the buildings of Emperor Nero, a paradise of luxury, the Domus Aurea, complete with a massive artificial lake and a large bronze statue of his likeness. These constructions stood until his fall, symbolizing his lavish lifestyle and out-of-touch rule. After Nero's fall, the Emperor Vespasian took power of Rome, the first of the Flavian dynasty. Knowing of the public's hatred for Nero's excesses, and seeking to change how emperors were seen, Vespasian saw an opportunity in Nero's wasted land, and in 72 AD he had the palace dismantled and the lake drained. In its place, he built a titan of entertainment, the Flavian Amphitheater, but it would be remembered by a different name, the Colosseum. After being drained, the indent of the lake gave the perfect foundation, and a transformation of land and structure began. The construction project was daunting. It began in 72 AD under Vespasian and would last nearly a decade, ultimately outliving him. He died in 79 and never saw the completion of his amphitheater. The task fell to his son, Titus. The work was more than just a monument to the Flavian dynasty. It was a product of an enormous amount of labor. Thousands of mostly enslaved builders worked in 4 teams, each building a quadrant of the Colosseum and slowly working toward each other. Each action was carefully overseen by master artisans, and the goal wasn't elegance, it was speed, scale, and a message of power. But the story of the Colosseum's creation was not just one of imperial vision or architectural brilliance. It was one of human toil. The labor force was composed largely of enslaved people, many of them taken prisoners during Rome's wars in Judea. Shackled and forced to work, they hauled stone, poured concrete, and carved intricate details under grueling conditions. Though their names were never recorded in marble, it was their sweat and sacrifice that turned the emperor's ambition into stone. Roman writers remained silent on their suffering, focusing instead on the glory of the structure. But modern historians estimate that as many as 60,000 enslaved workers may have participated in its construction. Their efforts were not for comfort or reward, but for the glory of a state that saw them as expendable. The Colosseum stands as a monument to power, but also to the lives consumed in building it. The Colosseum was an engineering wonder. Constructed from travertine stone, brick, marble, and volcanic concrete, it showcased Roman mastery of materials. The exterior featured arches to support weight, while the interior was lined with marble veneers, an opulent showing of Roman wealth and power. Upon the Colosseum's completion in 80 AD, the stadium opened under Emperor Titus with the inaugural games, a 100-day ceremony to dedicate the structure. Over 5,000 tamed animals were killed, sometimes by random citizens, and the Colosseum would soon become a site for the execution of criminals, often by execution or by wild animals. Soon after the ceremony's conclusion, Titus died, and his brother Domitian became the first emperor to fully rule with the Colosseum at his disposal. Under Domitian, public games became a staple of Roman life. They were used to reward the people, distract them, and serve as propaganda, celebrating emperors and gods alike. Mornings began with beast fights, animals tearing into each other or their human opponents. By midday, the arena turned darker, used for executing criminals, prisoners of war, and early Christians. When evening came, the true bloodshed began. Gladiators, some trained from youth, and others volunteering in the search of glory, fought in one-on-one duels, team battles, and full-scale reenactments. Sometimes they fought to the death. Sometimes they were spared, if the crowd or emperor willed it. Colosseum's stagecraft extended beyond simple violence. Beneath the blood and glory was a carefully orchestrated performance, one that blended engineering with psychological spectacle. Each event was a ritual, designed to reinforce Rome's power. Gladiators entered to the sound of trumpets and drums, passing under imperial banners. The crowds cheered not just for the fighters, but for the state that gave them such a show. Applause became loyalty. Even the architecture played a role in shaping emotion. The height of the arena walls, the thunderous echo of the crowd, the sudden burst of sunlight. These were not accidents. They were part of a system built to awe crowds. Emperors would appear in full regalia, sometimes participating in ceremonies before the bloodshed began. Their presence reminded the audience that the empire was strong, present, and divine. The arena became a place where the myth of Rome was retold each and every day, where gods were honored through sacrifice, and enemies were humiliated through spectacle. Every death was a message, every roar of the crowd a reaffirmation of the empire. Beneath the arena, a network of wooden tunnels housed animals and gladiators, ready to be raised into the spotlight. These hidden chambers formed the backbone of the Colosseum's surprise factor. Fighters and beasts could appear without warning. The wooden floor could even be removed, allowing the arena to be flooded for mock naval battles.
If you are here from a distant land, a late spectator for whom this was the first day of the sacred show, let not the naval warfare deceive you with its ships, and the water like to a sea. Here but lately was land.
Over time, additions were made, including another level that increased the amphitheater's capacity to nearly 80,000 people. The layout also adopted strict social codes. Senators sat on the bottom platform closest to the arena, while women and poorer citizens were pushed further and further to the top. Every member of the Roman society had a place in the Colosseum. For over 4 centuries, the Flavian amphitheater held spectacles and games, the key stage for emperors to show growth and the power of the empire. But the empire had changed over time, and by 404 AD, gladiator games were outlawed. Over time, the Colosseum was slowly eroded from earthquakes, and stones were reused to build buildings all around Rome. However, the structure would not be forgotten. The decline of the Colosseum ended with Pope Benedict XIV's declaration of the Colosseum as a holy site in the 18th century, remembering the Christian martyrs who were executed there. He preserved it as a symbol of Rome's glory and the deep, deep history. Today, the Colosseum stands as a symbol of Rome's grandeur and decay from past excesses and the downfall of an empire. It also stands as a testament to the power of a people whose enjoyment of spectacle shaped history. Though the amphitheater may no longer hold gladiators, or executions, or emperors, it still holds within its walls the echoing heartbeat of an empire that ruled the known world.